You've done the Ragnar Race, the Baton Memorial Death March, and the Norwegian Foot March, all within, about a 6-month time span?
More like 3.
And welcome to Raven Conversation. And today I'm joined by Sergeant Madison Ivey.
Hi.
You are the state credentialing coordinator for the Washington Army National Guard Medical Command.
Yes.
That is a huge title. I'm going to ask about what a state credentialing coordinator does later. But she's kind of done a rare feat this year. You've done the Ragnar Race, the Baton Memorial Death March, and the Norwegian Foot March, all within, about a 6-month time span?
More like 3.
Like 3?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about kind of doing these incredible races, what she does in the Guard and just kind of being a medic in the Army. So appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we were kind of talking earlier. For you, this is kind of awesome. Your brother plays baseball, so you get to kind of talk about what you do now.
Yeah, now I'm on a podcast.
So intro and background on yourself.
Yes, I work full-time for the Office of the State Surgeon, also helping out with the medical detachment for the Washington Army National Guard. I'm the state credentialing coordinator, so essentially it's just kind of overseeing the providers, all the providers in our state for their bonuses and making sure they have the proper credentials. But I also do a lot with physicals, and I'm also a 68 whiskey sustainment instructor, so that is super fun, super grateful to have that title. So yeah, kind of doing as much as I can.
Yeah. So I always ask, how'd you learn about the Guard?
Oh boy. Back in 2021 is when I first joined. I actually was going to go active duty. I had a pretty significant life change. And so at that point I was 20 years old and I was like, I need to do something different. And then I had a neighbor who was a prior Navy SEAL and he was like, you should come work out with me. And I'm like, absolutely, let's do it. And he kind of convinced me to join the military. But yeah, my husband was getting stationed at JBLM. I ended up joining with this was before he got stationed. So I joined the Texas Army National Guard. And after I graduated AIT and everything, my husband went to JBLM. So I was like, I guess I'll just IST. So it was a pretty quick process, but super grateful to be here. I never thought I would call Washington home permanently, but here we are. It's 3 years later and I don't foresee myself leaving. So
you're kind of the rarity, because everyone always says Texas is home, and they always end up going back. And you're like, no, I'm just going to stay in Washington.
Yes, I never thought I would ever say that. I've always been Texas at heart, born and raised just outside of Dallas. And it was definitely a shocker to my family when I let them know I'm kind of moving closer to Seattle. I actually really like it. And it's the first winter was definitely an adjustment because I'm used to sun all the time. But no, it's been a really good experience, especially work-wise. I think that's what makes it, because that's where you spend 90% of your time. And so I work around incredible people. I'm super blessed to have such an incredible chain of command. So very happy here.
And for you, and a shout out to Josh Orr once again. Yes. He recommended you for the podcast. So,
yes, he is wonderful.
He's a fantastic guy, but he always seems to throw people at this podcast when every time I say, hey, you should come on and talk finally. He's like, oh, no, here, you should talk to this person. So you can blame him for you being here.
Yes, I'm aware.
So before we go into the races, so you're a 68 whiskey, a combat medic. Talk about why did you choose that career field?
I chose it. I actually was a first responder prior to joining the military. So I was super blessed to get my EMT certification my senior year of high school. And so I got that. And then I started working for Hunt County EMS, which is kind of just outside of Dallas. And I absolutely loved it. Just fell in love with the adrenaline, and then also just patient care, and getting to be there on somebody's worst day was it was truly I just always saw it as an honor. And so, but again, there was a big life change, and I was like, I think I could do more. I'm gonna join the military, and 68 whiskey was definitely the obvious choice. And it also was pretty nice because I already had my EMT certification, so I automatically would go in as a specialist as opposed to a private. So that was definitely enticing.
That's good to know. I don't think a lot of people even know that, right?
Absolutely.
If you have that, you automatically come in above private. So.
Yes, I talked to all the other branches as well, like active duty and Guard and Reserve, and the Army was the only one that offered that. Everybody else was like, yeah, it's cool that you hold that certification, but we're still going to have you go in as an E1 or an E3. And so, yeah, the Army just was the obvious choice in that regard.
No, it's good to know. Appreciate that information. Somebody watching this is probably like, hey, I've got that, and I'm interested in joining. So, So we had mentioned at the beginning, you've done the Ragnar, the Baton, and the Norwegian all within about a 3-month time span.
The Ragnar is going to be in July, but I did do the Ragnar last year for the first time. So really,
your second time.
Yes.
So for those that don't know, the Ragnar is a road race. It's a team race, though, or it can be an individual as well.
It can be an individual if you're crazy and want to do an ultra marathon. But yes, it's about just over 200 miles-ish. Last year we did a team of 12. We're doing the same thing this year. And we have 2 vans, 6 people in each van, and you just you pick your leg and you're running every 6 hours or so. But yeah, there was actually 2 people that did the entire thing. It was 2 girls. They had a Barbie team last year, and it was just so incredible to see them. They were both doing about 100 miles each, and it was just watching them go. I was like, okay, I can do my leg that totals to about 15 miles if they can do 100 miles. So
where did you guys start?
We started. Oh gosh, I don't even know. I think I didn't really pay attention. I just was there for a ride.
But where'd you guys finish?
We finished, gosh, where was it? It wasn't, I'm thinking of the Rainier to Rusting because I did that last year as well. And I'm doing that again this year. But yeah, I think it was like, I don't even know, honestly.
Yeah, because I know they have one along the stretch, right, of I-5. The Rainier to Ruston is also a very beautiful run.
Oh my gosh, it was incredible. Have you done it?
I have not done that one.
Mm-hmm. It's coming up, June 7th.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder on these things. I have not trained, nor am I ready for that one. One of my favorites, though, is the Jack and Jill. Have you ever done that one from Snoqualmie Pass down to North Bend?
No, but I've heard of it.
That is a good one, too. And
is
it's
it
a Boston.
Relay?
It's a run, and it's a Boston Marathon qualifier, but it's all downhill.
Oh, I was going to say the downhill marathon. I have looked into that, but I have not signed up for that.
Yeah. And I've done the Seattle marathons, which are always a blast.
Mm-hmm.
I always joke, like, one of my best Seattle marathon runs, I come across the 11-mile mark, and I'm like, I think it was my half year. I was like, I'm doing great. My pace is great. And then the next 2 miles was all straight uphill, and it killed it. And I was like, thanks, Seattle, for doing exactly that. Not to go on a tangent. So what prompted you to do the Ragnar? What was the thing that made you say, hey, I really want to do 15 miles in a road race?
I have the inability to say no to challenges. I'm very not necessarily giving into peer pressure, but it's more like maybe FOMO, where I'm like, everybody else is doing it. I guess I'll sign up. Yeah. But last year is kind of a funny story. My first sergeant in Zaragoza, he asked myself and my friend if we wanted to do this Ragnar. And at the time, I was not really a runner at all. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure. And I don't know. And then we were just like, you know what? We're just going to do it. We're going to sign up. Yes, count me in. And then he asked me, he's like, well, do you think your husband would want to do it? I go, yeah, sign him up. And he was like, do you want to call him first?
You're like, no.
No, just sign him up. Like, he knows that I would definitely sign him up for this. So I called my husband after. Hey, so just so you know, so mark your calendar for July 12th because we're going to be doing this Ragnar race. And he goes, what? How many miles? Oh, just 18. No big deal. I was like, but you're a great runner. Like, this will be really good. And he was like, what did you just do? But ended up being an incredible time. I think our whole team finished in about 32 hours.
Okay.
I didn't sleep really in that, but definitely 10 out of 10 worth it. I will be doing it again.
And I believe there's a couple different teams that the Army Guard puts out there. It's not just you guys. There's like 2 or 3 different Army Guard teams that do this.
Yeah, we made our own team. Our team name was MedPros, which is very fitting because Army and medical, it was just the perfect name. But yeah, there was one other team I remember watching, and I was told just try to keep up with them. And so I would just identify who I was going against. Okay. But it was just all just really healthy competition. Yeah. It was fun. Yeah. Team building.
So we'll go to the Baton, which is Memorial March. It kind of memorializes the Baton Death March. That's 26.2 miles.
Yes.
It's New Mexico, and it's dead of the night, pretty much. You're doing most of this, right?
At nighttime?
Yeah.
So that's the Norwegian. The Baton was actually, it started at 7 in the morning-ish. But it was definitely an experience. It was my first marathon, technically.
Yeah. What's the pack weight for that one? Because you're carrying a pack on that one too.
Yeah, so that's something I was excited to talk about. So there's different divisions that you can sign up for. You could do military or civilian, but there's heavy and there's light.
Yeah.
And so the heavy would be you have to have a minimum of 35 pounds, and then the light you could carry no weight. You have to have water with you, but you could carry nothing, or you could carry anything up to 35 pounds and be in that same. So I opted for, because I signed up relatively at the last minute, I opted to do the light. So I was carrying about 23 pounds on my back. But yeah, it was.
What kind of prompted you at last minute to say, "Hey, I'll do that. Why not?"
Again,
and please say
like
peer
most
pressure
things,
by
everybody else was doing
Zaragoza.
it. Yeah, I mean, everybody was talking. We were at dinner. We were actually TDY in Spokane. We were doing a 68 whiskey course at the time, and so we all went to dinner together. And everybody's talking about their Baton plan, like what kind of socks they're gonna wear, what kind of T-shirt works for them, and just like all the things. And I just sat there and I was like, I think I'm gonna do it. Should I do it? They're like, yes, you should. You should definitely sign up if that's something that you want to do. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to sign up. And so I signed up the next morning. It was just like, we're just going to go full send. And then mind you, it's a very big race. And so flights and then hotels have to be booked because it's definitely not close. And I am not driving. There were some people that I know that road tripped across and then drove right back after the race. And I was like,
which to White Sands is a very far drive from here.
Yes. More power to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after that, and not really all that much longer, because it was just a couple months later, not even a couple months later, I believe, the Norwegian
just over a month
happens. Mm-hmm. That's the nighttime Ruck.
Yes.
You went to Ellensburg, my alma mater, Central Washington University, hosts that every year. 18.6. Yeah, 18.6, I believe, or something like that.
I signed up, I think, a week or two before.
And it's a timed race. You have to complete it within a certain time. You have to carry a certain weight, and you get a little pin. And when we say little, it is very
so
small.
Tiny, yes.
So was that also a kind of a FOMO, or were you like, hey, why not? Let's do it now that I've done the first one?
Now that I've done the first one, I was like, might as well. Like, I have no reason to say no, and I'm going to be there anyway because we were doing medical services in Yakima. So I was like, well, I'm going to be there already. My friends are doing it. I really don't have an excuse. So let's just see if I can make it in the time hack. So
yeah. So how long did that take you?
It took me, I finished in 4 hours and 42 minutes.
Okay.
And I will say it was 18.6 miles, but the Baton was 26.2. And I told everybody this. Although I was faster on the Norwegian because I had to be, it was harder. I would say that it was harder because I did not bring a headlamp because I was like, well, I'm sure I'll still be able to see. There's stars. Like, I don't want to carry it. It'll give me a headache. That was a rookie mistake for sure.
Yeah. That is the one thing you always want. Ellensburg gets very dark at night. So
I learned that.
Even though it's pretty clear and the stars were probably out because it's springtime, it is a very dark walk along that trail.
Oh, yes. So. And it was down and back. So it's about 9 miles there, 9 miles back. And there was one restroom on the way. And there was, I think there was just one point where I could get like Gatorade, whereas with the Baton, it was very organized. And it was like every 2 miles, there's bathrooms if you need them, there's Gatorade, there's snacks, there's water. And so it was definitely different. You just have to zone in and stay focused and make sure you actually have water for that one. So.
Yeah. So of the three, which one was kind of your favorite to do? And which one would you be like, hey, I'm totally going to do that again?
Oh, definitely the Baton. It was like truly one of the most remarkable experiences of my life. I know that sounds silly because it's like, oh my gosh, that sounds miserable. It's 26.2 miles. You're like in the desert. But the energy, when you get to the starting line, I was really nervous up until I got there. And just the energy around you. There's so many people. They all have the same goal. And it was amazing. I actually opted to not wear headphones until I actually needed them because, 26.2 miles. I figured I'd probably finish like 7 hours, maybe just over 7 hours. So I was like, that's a long time to listen to music. I know I'm going to get bored. I'm so glad that I waited because I just met quite a few people that I actually will probably always remember, like the advice that they gave me, and they're just from all over the country. So it was definitely worth it.
And it's not a speed thing, right? It's more of a distance and just kind of getting on a pace. And so you can actually talk a lot with folks on those kind of things.
Yes, I just happen to be that way where I'm very like, okay, what's my pace? But yes, I actually got like sub 13 miles for like 13-minute miles for like 4 miles because I met somebody that was probably probably 6'8", and we're just talking about life, but I had to keep up with him because I didn't want to be rude.
Yeah.
But it was...
So you're going like at this person's pace who is much longer. Yeah.
Yes, and we were only 6 miles in at that point, so I'm like, oh my goodness, I am gassing myself. But yeah.
That's what ends up happening a lot on those things is you find somebody whose pace is much quicker, and then you have to figure out how to stay on it. So
yes.
I would do that on road races all the time where you find that person, you're like, I want to be on that person's pace because then I'm going to pass them. And then they just somehow have another gear and they just go. So it's usually what ends up happening. But or you gas yourself very quickly because you're like, I can't keep up with that person. So, so being a medic in the Guard, do you think that has helped you kind of in this environment, right? Where it's a little bit more of a harder run. These aren't short runs. So
I would say like we had discussed before we started this podcast, like I guess more knowledge of making sure you stay hydrated, the importance of that, and making sure you're fueling appropriately and eating every certain miles to make sure you don't crash, and eating before you get hungry. And also blister care is the biggest thing. I think I'm like genetically predisposed to blisters because I've always I played sports all my life, and so I've just always been super prone to them. But the one thing with the 26.2, I was like, I cannot have blisters for this. That will just... It will make it so miserable. I just can't. So I finally found out a system that worked for me, including getting new boots a month before the race, which that could go either way. It could go really good or really bad, but either way, it was necessary.
Do you do like custom insoles or anything?
No.
Just
no,
regular
I
ones
just I did some research on like, okay, what do ultra marathon runners like? What do they use? And I got this like KT tape blister stuff, and then some blister balm, and then foot powder spray was like the biggest thing. And then I tell everybody about these. I feel like they should sponsor me, but Belega does these blister prevention socks. They actually work. So it was incredible. First time in my life I've ever done a ruck, which was the longest I've ever gone. I didn't have a single blister. So
I actually use Darn Tough socks. If you've never used that brand,
I've heard of them, but I haven't tried them.
So fantastic, out of Vermont. Not like endorsing them or anything. They are an absolute phenomenal like military sock to wear for any kind of rucking. Tough. So for running though, I do Belega as well. So we've kind of started using Bombas.
Bombas are great too. So are Features. If you haven't had those, I have probably like 8 pairs of them, but totally worth it.
Any kind of like gels, powders, anything that you use like during these not marathons, but ultra marches basically that kind of help?
I am a very big fan of Rice Krispie treats, and everybody who knows me knows, like, if you open the back of my car, there's currently a box of 60 from Costco, but it's just like really quick energy and fuel. I tried the gels last year when I did the Rainier to Ruston. I tried gels for the very first time, and it just like, you just got to figure out what works for you. For me, I was like, no, it just didn't make me feel super great. So no, but Rice Krispies and applesauce. So like my pockets, I actually got my race pictures back from the Baton, and it was funny. Like you could see my pockets are like so stuffed, and it's all like all my snacks. But those two things, I'm like, I swear by.
So there's no like, hey, you should take this gel because it's going to fuel you up. You're like, no, just eat what you're going to eat anyways.
Just eat what works for you, and then also what your body's craving. So I know like Rice Krispie treats, like I know that does super well in my stomach. I know I'll always crave it. I feel like it sounds good at any point. So I knew that would be something that I could depend on.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do others get involved in jumping in these races, right? Or how do they even start?
I mean, find a group, ask people to do it. Like with the Baton, it's open to anybody, like military or civilian. But I truly recommend, like, find a buddy to fly down there with you, room with them. But yeah, with the Ragnar, I tell people all the time too, like, find a team of 6 to 12 people and just do it. I think it can be very daunting. Like, there's definitely more daunting things. Yeah. But for me personally, it was very daunting. And especially with, like, the Baton and the Norwegian, there was this fear of, like, what if I fail? But then also you're failing by not trying. You know, you're already counting yourself out. And so I think people, as long as you're just willing and ask around and look up and research these races, anybody can do it.
Yeah. I mean, any kind of closing advice?
Closing advice? Man, I guess the same thing is just like, don't count yourself out. Like, you don't know what you're capable of until you actually try. And then also, I wanted to note with the Norwegian, because I know a lot of people, there's that time hack. Females get more time, just depending. But I know that that can be like a very like daunting thing with I have to meet this pace. There's quite a few people I met on the Norwegian that I just talked to, and they were like, I don't know if I'm on pace. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but you still showed up. So regardless if you finish in time, if you finish at all, you still went out there and tried. And I think that's like the best anyone can do.
Yeah. Showing up is 90% of it. So.
Yes, absolutely.
So perfect. No, I appreciate you coming on and sharing it.
Thank you for having me.
Kind of sharing your stories. I always find the photos interesting when I get them from G4. He's always got amazing things to say about everyone that does the races. Mm-hmm. So one of these days we'll get him on here to kind of share his guard story too.
Oh, you absolutely should do that.
So, if you like the video, give it a like. If you want to subscribe for future videos, hit the button. If you got any comments, throw them in there. We'll pass them along. And I appreciate you coming on right now.
Yes, thank you so much.